I have to apologize. I'm breaking the rule for proper line height, probably on 90% of the slides. Yeah, but welcome to Staying in the Fast Lane, tools to keep your site speedy and light. And just so you know who's in front of you, I'm Stefan. I'm doing programming stuff for 4 years now. I did mostly e-commerce work. And for 6 weeks, I'm now entering the world of single-page applications, doing crazy Angular stuff. Yeah, and I'm now entering the world of single-page applications. I'm doing Angular stuff for 6 weeks. Kind of scary, super exciting, but a lot of fun. I'm maintaining a couple of open source projects, most related to automation, performance, and grunt. And I'm occasionally writing on my blog about front-end stuff. We can talk about the name later. Front-end stuff and JavaScript thingies, stuff I learn on the way. And the most important topic, or the most important fact for tonight, is that this is my phone. And I'm using it everywhere, and way too often probably. And I would guess everybody in this room belongs to this generation. We are all kind of the generation mobile, right? And we all can kind of admit that mobile is a thing for us. We're using our phones too often. We're using it for everything. I'm using it for surfing the web, for checking my daily schedule, writing emails, and, well, that's how it is. But let me tell you a story. At the moment, I'm running on a mobile phone contract, and I've got 1 gigabyte, let's say relatively fast internet connection, and this works fine. From time to time I'm hitting the limit and I'm slowed down for a couple of days, but this is fine. But I went over to the US last year in September, and I made the mistake. I didn't inform myself about what is going on there. And yes, it was awesome. And I knew that already, that my mobile provider is offering packages, but I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. It turns out it was. As you see there, I was able to buy packages, valid for 24 hours, giving me 6 megabytes of data volume. And you see I got a warning 1 hour, 15 minutes later, and I ran out of this package not even 2 hours later. And the sad part about this was that I didn't even do anything with my phone. I was not surfing the internet, it was just communicating. But let's now do some math, right? Let's say I'm running around in New York and I want to visit this fancy, shiny, responsive website. I know it looks great. And it feels great in my Wi-Fi connection at home. But let's say this website is 1.5 megabyte heavy. And let's say maybe the engineers over there forgot to set the proper caching headers. This means that I'm, with this package over in the United States, that I'm able to visit 4 pages until I have to pay another €2. And this is super sad. And so we all have to admit that performance is a hot topic at the moment. Not only on mobile, but especially on mobile. And just to prove that, I want to share some stats. Firefox reduced the average load times by 2.2 seconds and increased the downloads by 15%. For a company like Firefox, this means they have 10 million more downloads of their key product. This is a huge deal, right? Google made a few tests and made their page load 500 milliseconds higher, and the searches dropped by 25%. When this is your key business, when your website is your key business, you have to take care of this. The Guardian surveyed 3,000 users, and all the users rated speed as the second most important thing, only after easy-to-find content, which makes kind of sense for a newspaper website. So we all have to realize that performance affects your bottom line. We have to evaluate what are our goals. Maybe we are all conversion-driven, maybe we want to have clicks, sales, but we have to realize that performance is a feature. It's not just nice to have, it's affecting everything. And if you're not following this, people will drop, and people will go to your competitor. because they can succeed their goal over there a bit faster, maybe. So I want to talk about building up a performance culture. And this actually includes setting a budget, becoming fast, and staying fast. So let's just dive in. How to set a budget. The most important thing about that is everybody has to be on board. Marketing people, managing directors, designers, developers. Everybody has to understand that performance is a topic. And these people, all people working with you together, have to evaluate, is this 12th tracking pixel really needed? Or do we really need 5 custom fonts? Or this fancy, shiny parallax effect? Is it worth it? And what is the outcome of that? Is it really worth it to add one shiny feature and make, let's say, a couple of people drop? This affects your business. And when you've got everybody on board, you have to define your KPIs. And sure, we all have KPIs. We're checking sales or visits or whatever, but these RUM metrics, real user metrics, are also kind of KPIs when you're performance-driven. Page load time, page rate, number of requests, this is all important, and you have to define it together. Everybody working with you have to understand what these metrics are, and in which case they're important for your visitors. So you have to check that, and then you have to define a budget. Let's say, yeah, you want to have a max page weight of 500K, and then stick to it. Or you want to have a first paint, which means that something is shown to your visitor after 800 milliseconds. Or you want to have a maximum request number of 50. Just define, and everybody has to understand it. But there are a couple of problems with these KPIs. It's really hard to measure user experience with these. Let's say we've got a page load time, and we're comparing 2 websites with a page load time of 10 seconds. Website number A is showing content after 1 second to the user. So the user experience is quite high, but the page load time is delayed because there are tons of tracking pixels going on. And then let's compare with website number B, which shows a white page until second number 9. And then at the 9th second, yeah, the content arrives. They both have the same page load time, but the user experience is quite different. And this is where the speed index comes in. The speed index is a value which gives you information at which point mostly of your site is visible. As a key rule, you can say, if you've got a speed index at around 1000, this means that most parts of your page are visible at 1 second. If you've got a speed index at 10,000, means, well, the users can interact with the page probably after 10 seconds. So this is a super valuable metric. And maybe you want to set this as your budget. And after that, check what you have and don't make it worse. That's the whole idea. And Paul Irish from the Google team answered these questions. How fast is fast enough? And he's recommending a speed index after 1000. And this is quite tough. But you now might ask yourself a question. Okay, what happens if something does not fit within the budget? Well, this situation will happen. But you agreed on your performance budget, so you agreed on not making your visitors drop. You agreed on not making your visitors leave. And Steve Saunders, the performance guru, has 3 solutions for that. Number 1, optimize an existing asset or feature. Well, not that hard. Remove an existing feature or asset. Well, yeah. And then the drastic one, well, doesn't fit in the budget. Sorry for that, we cannot do the feature. This only works when everybody is on board. All the marketing people, the managing directors. If you're interested in this, Jesenia Perez Cruz gave an awesome talk at SmashingConf, and she explained how she did this in her company. So let me come to the second part, how to become fast. And I'm attending Upfront for a while now, and I know this was covered a couple of times already, so I will just quickly jump over it. Especially front-end people are doing these crazy things. We're concatenating, minifying. Above the fold thingy is a topic, and we're uglifying. And every 2 weeks, there's a new best practice coming up. And we're all doing this with the so-called build process, whatever this means. And recently, Paul Irish tweeted about this, and I really like this tweet because this was exactly when I started web development. And I checked out HTML5 boilerplate, and there was this huge file included, and it was using this software called Ant, which was a Java thingy. But I was totally amazed by that because it did so much powerful things. And it was community-driven, and I was like, yeah, the world makes sense. The community got much further in the meantime. So now we've got this. We've got Grunt, we've got NPM scripts, Gulp, Broccoli. We're building all the things. It's always included. Also, every month a new build tool is coming up. But we're using this to optimize our stuff, and we're taking care of what we do. But let me explain you, or let me show you a situation. How often do you, when you're a developer, did you do this? You optimized something, you monitored in your dev tools, felt great, did a good job, nobody noticed, but you were super comfortable. And then 2 months later, you were visiting the same spot, and it was super slow. It was much heavier, and you didn't notice when this happened, who's responsible for that. Maybe some content management happened, maybe some other developer was into it. Nobody knows. But performance monitoring and performance-driven development is a never-ending story. So I want to come, and that's why I want to come to my main part today. How to stay fast. And this really consists only out of 3 main points. Automate, monitor, and visualize. And the first thing I want to show you, you probably have already on board. This is our good old friend, Google Analytics. It's not perfect, but you can get RAM metrics out of Google Analytics. And you can correlate them with your well-performing pages or with your bad-performing pages. And Google also is pushing this really hard, and they are including also now PSI scores, which I will show you in a second. So you as a maybe marketing person can easily know or notice, well, this page is not converting. It has a PSI score of 50. Maybe it's related. So let me show you PSI. Page Speed Insights, you can head over there, can type in any URL, and it will give you a score, and will give you also some tips on how to improve. And I want to point out, the Smashing magazine is doing a fantastic job. They're on a WordPress installation, and they hit a score of 98. They include tons of tracking pixels. Vitalik Friedman, not bad. But this approach, well, it's nice, but this is not automated. So let's just automate it. Google itself is offering multiple tools so that you can put it in your fancy, shiny build process. And is it running? Yeah. And it will give you the score, it will give you stats, but now the nice thing kicks in. You can set a budget. That's cool. And make it fail. Fail your build. Write an email. Post it into Slack or Skype or whatever you're using. Just notice when something went wrong. And this is already super powerful. And let me share another one. Web page tests. Kind of the buzzword thing. And Pat Niemann is doing an awesome job with this project. Using web page tests, you can run from a ton of endpoints all over the world, different connection speed, different browsers, and can test your website. And this is all for free. Just head over, type something in, and get results. And Web Page Test is also offering you tips on how to improve. And Here we have our little friend, the Speedy. This is nice. Just use it. One key feature of web page test you have to show when you're presenting in it is this. This is only when you get this when you register at web page test, and then you can save your runs over time, and you can just create video comparisons. Yeah. And what we see here is the New York Times on the left side, and you can see the Guardian on the right side. And you can see how their pages are built up. And I was super lucky because I see super bad UX over here. An ad is kicking in, page load time is super worse, and the user is super distracted. So when you want to evaluate what is going on with your site and your competitor's site, this is awesome. And this is for free. Just register. And start evaluating where you are, where your competitors are, and where you want to go. But still, this is a manual process. So let's automate that. Tim Kudlik from over the United States thought about that also. And he wrote a grant task, which is called Perf Budget. And all this gives you is just the ability to run web page test with a given budget. So again, just put it into your build. You have it anyway when you're caring about performance. And as you see here, all right, in this one it passed. 1,000, recommendation by Paul Irish, I'm good. But if not, get a message. This is super valuable. And now let me show you something super nerdy, but I really like that. This is a Google spreadsheet. And you can run a web page test from within this Google spreadsheet. So this is perfect for handing over to your marketing people. They are using this every day. And they've got tons of crazy numbers in there. And they're doing some Excel stuff. I have no idea what they're doing with that. But you can put RAM metrics into that. And just hand the data over. They can get the data when they want. And that's it. This is one of the keys for building a performance culture. Everybody has to be on board. And even when one of these columns is in one of the KPI spreadsheets, this is already a win. But there's one thing to mention. The public web page test API was limited to a super low number. I guess I didn't find the number. I guess it was 30 or 20 requests per day or something. It was really not usable when you want to use it constantly. But last year in September, Guy Podjani wrote this post, and Akamai is now sponsoring web page tests. You can just ask for a key, and you've got 200 page loads per day for free. So automate it. Ping your website every day, every morning. Do whatever you want. But this is just laying around. Use it. It's not a big thing. If you need more than 200 page loads, you have to set up your own instance of web page tests. And I'm running in my own instance. I'm not a sysadmin person. It took me 1 week to set it up. Maybe a sysadmin is a bit better. But 200 page loads, this is already a start. And because this is so powerful, Mark Zeman started doing this business. It's called Speed Curve, and it's on top of web page tests. And it's super easy. It's not free, but just put it in, and it gives you tons of statistics based on web page tests. You can configure it. You can see your competitors. You can see how you evolve over time. And he's covering maybe a ton of use cases you might be interested. This is super cool. So when you don't have the manpower or the people setting this up, just use Speed Curve. It's super easy. Let's this finish. Page weight over different devices, request numbers. Yeah, it's great and it's super pretty. And then there's also this fellow. I'm not quite sure why this is not super successful, but this is awesome. It is called SiteSpeed.io, And it's a project by Peter Hedenskog, and it's an NPM module. And it has a ton of configurations. But what you can do is you can put in your base URL, and this tool will evaluate all your intern links to the other pages and will evaluate the performance of all pages it will find. You can increase the number of crawling so that you maybe reach all the pages from your website that are linked. And you can get super nice statistics over that. So this is all to make it run using Firefox. You can run it with Google Chrome, with Firefox, Phantom.js, or even web page test. And this run that is now running took actually 30 minutes. And it's crawling 75 different pages of the Smashing magazine. And it didn't took me anything. I just had to run the command. Not a big deal. And it's generating an HTML report so that you can notice, are you doing a good job? Are you getting better? Are you getting worse? And these are the median values over all pages that are crawled at this. But the powerful thing here is now, which will be the next tab that will be clicked, that it gives you also the ability to compare. It's not, unfortunately, not fully responsive, but you can see which pages are the slowest one on your website. And you can evaluate it. Maybe your performance budget is an index of over 80. Just run it daily. See what's going on. Break when you're going under it. And you can even compare different websites. So this is a comparison of Apple and Samsung. And you see, not Apple and Samsung, Apple and Sony. And you see that Sony is doing a fair better job, which means that Apple doesn't seem to care that much about their landing pages. But this is super nice for your evaluation. How fast is fast enough for the moment? How are my competitors doing? Do I want my visitors to leave and go over there? This is great. So you can also set a budget and make the build fail. This is great. And if you have some sys administration power, you can put all this data into Graphite. I'm not an expert on that, but I really love graphing. And you can get this. And you can run it every 15 minutes and just put it on a monitor in your working space. And look for spikes. Yeah, what was going on here? I mean, this is great. And then the managing directors and the marketing people are coming along. Hey, the sales dropped. Are we here? What is going on? We're super slow. That's the target we maybe want to reach. And the last tool I want to mention is a side project by myself. It is called Grand Fantomas. It's wrapping the Fantomas module. Fantomas is a node module that evaluates RAM metrics using Phantom.js. And when I first saw it, I was like, man, this is great. Tons of metrics. I want to have it. But the thing is that monitoring over time is the important thing. It doesn't help me when I'm just running it once and see, yeah, well, 200, whatever, cool. So I started building this. And this is a grunt task. You can easily put it into your grunt stack. Will take you not 20 seconds, and you get all these metrics over time. You can configure what you want to see. You can define the places, can define the headlines, and you can define a budget. Just put it in there and check it after you deploy. It's super nice. So I really like it. And the hard thing about that is, especially performance is a topic at the moment, or for a while already. There are tons of tools out there. And every 2 weeks someone is developing something new, something great, and it's going through Twitter for a while, and then, yeah, what do you do with it? I did the GitHub star approach. Didn't work out. Forgot what I started anyway. Some people are doing this linked lists with 200 bookmarks. Didn't work out also for me. So I thought of, well, maybe we want to set up a resource for this. And my friend Marco and I started putting together a community-driven resource which collects performance tools. All the tools I just mentioned are in here. At the moment, we're collecting tools, articles, videos, slides. In a couple of days, we also have books. And so to show you what we have at the moment, we've got 94 tools, 43 articles, 23 videos, and 13 slide decks. Including mostly front-end stuff at the moment. We are now we will include more WordPress stuff. We're super interested in any other programming language, whatever you like. We just want to collect this one resource, which is community-driven. And it's super easy to contribute. Just ping us on Twitter, open issue, or propose a pull request. And then maybe your image will be there. That would be lovely. We also offer a newsletter. The next release or the next sending out of the newsletter will be in this week. Let's see when we got time. And I would really like to go this a bit further. So to sum everything up, the going performance budget approach is super drastic, and probably you won't get everybody on board. So just go step by step and start monitoring and start improving. But keep in mind that you shouldn't make it worse. Don't develop blind. Check what you have and become better. And I want really to close this talk with a quote by Ben Schwartz, who said, "Don't rely on what you think you know, prove it." Especially in performance-driven development, I think this is super valuable, but I think he's maybe missing a bit. So I want to extend it to don't rely on what you think you know, prove that performance is important, share with your colleagues, and show it the outcome of fast sites. And that's it.